Hey guys, it's Fiona Edgar, astrologer here, and I'm just making a short video to talk about the upcoming partial eclipse that is happening on the 30th of November 2020. So this is a big eclipse in terms of its energy. The moon is in Gemini and the sun is in Sagittarius, so two mutable signs. Eclipses are like full moons on steroids. They, rather than just affecting a couple of weeks, they actually create big changes over a series of months, so up to about 6 months. On a personal level, eclipses can bring marriages, deaths, births, career changes, a change of job. So all of those big life changes. So if you can track where this eclipse falls in your own chart, you will be able to see exactly what you can expect coming up in the next 6 months. So obviously the world is on the edge of its seat right now, waiting to see who is going to win the election. I'm going to try and not talk about that too much today because the election is only one event, and yes, it's super important, not just for the USA but for the rest of the world, because whatever happens in the US changes, it changes all of our lives. It's such a powerful country. It's one of the most powerful countries in the world. And I know that in my own country, Northern Ireland, the US politicians in the past and presidents have, I guess, interfered with the politics in Northern Ireland. So for anyone to think, any US citizens to think that if we're in Europe or elsewhere, it's none of our business, well, you're totally wrong about that. Go and ask people in the Middle East if this election is none of their business, because that, especially that area of the world in the last couple of decades, has been hammered with war that the US was very much involved in. But we need to also look at this from a personal level. The first thing that I want to talk about is the sign of Gemini. So Gemini is all about facts, many different facts, information. It's the media, it's the news, it's social media, it's those everyday conversations that you have with your friends. We're all experiencing information overload at this time, okay? And really, it's not really serving us to be constantly glued to social media. And I have to check myself as well, because I have a stellium in Gemini in my birth chart. So it's really easy to get lost in the rabbit hole. You're looking at your phone at night before you go to sleep, and you're reading all of these kind of horrific and scary stories about things that really may or may not come to pass. And the next thing you know, it's like 2 a.m., you're full of anxiety, you can't sleep, and your stress levels are going through the roof. But really, nothing in your own personal life has changed that much. You're still going to work, you're still married, all of the issues that you had still remain. All of the good things that you have in your life are still there. So let's not get caught up in all of these articles, tweets, posts on Facebook. And I do post about politics on my Facebook because, I'm interested in it. I mean, politicians run the world, well as like rich people who probably we don't even know who they are, but it's good to pay attention to that, but not to the point where you're spending several hours every day full of anxiety and just going from one article into the other. So yesterday we actually had a Mercury Uranus opposition, And yeah, the anxiety levels were off the charts for many people. It's hard to feel rested. I don't know about you, but throughout that whole Mars retrograde, so Mars is direct now, I found it very hard to sleep. And I'm usually a pretty good sleeper, but just for some reason, it just felt like there was just this. And it's actually the anxiety and the worry and the energy that's going on all around the world at the moment. So if you're sensitive, if you have like water planets, or even if you don't, you're going to be picking up on that on a subtle level. And you know what it does? It affects your health, it affects your sleep. So you have to kind of keep your psychic firewalls up and just make sure that you get some rest, because getting this eclipse is all about the small details versus the bigger picture. Sagittarius is about the bigger picture, having optimism and faith that things are just going to work out no matter what happens. I truly believe that it will. So we have to get away from this. Also, in our personal lives, if you want to get away, if you want the world to shift, and it is shifting the next couple of months, the world is going to be completely different. Like we're literally moving into another dimension. So if you want to get away from the old world, the false world, you have to reflect that somehow in your everyday life. So Gemini is all about communication. What do you talk about every day? Are you talking about people that you don't know? Are you gossiping about people behind their back? Are you pretending to be someone's friend and then, just being disloyal to them and just being, someone that's quite fickle? You need to move away from that, okay? Because that does not belong anymore in the new energy that's coming in, especially next year. If you want to see politicians and world leaders that are straight talking, they tell the truth. They're not trying to blind us all with word salad. You need to really reflect that every day. Gossips and people that are two-faced they're constantly crippled with misfortune. They're constantly having difficulties in their lives. The reason is because they're bringing such bad negative energy and negative karma to them by being fickle and unstable. So the Sagittarius Sun here, of course the lunar eclipse is all about an ending. Something really big is ending. Yes, obviously it is about the election in America, but you know what? There's so much more going on at the moment that we really need to focus on. What is it? What vision do you have for the future? What do you want to create for yourself? You want to be free. I think all of us really want to be free and happy, first and foremost above anything else. You need to focus on that instead of getting caught up in all of this just information overload. The thing is that no matter which side you're on, or if you're not on any side, you have to be pretty blind to not see that currently the media is trying to cast a black magic spell on all of us. And that is literally the truth. So if you talk about like the law of attraction, and if you want to manifest something, you make a vision board, or you fake it till you make it, or you like visualize that you already have it. That's exactly what the media is doing right now, okay? There is no president-elect because there are ongoing litigations happening. It hasn't been decided. So why are they all calling him president-elect? Okay? Even if you believe that he will win the election, they have no business doing that. And I think the same thing happened in the year 2000 with Al Gore. They were all calling him president-elect as well, but then that changed, didn't it? So don't buy into that. Don't no matter what your hopes are for this election, don't believe that, because you're participating in that. You're being used as a spiritual battery, and you're being drained of your vital life force. So it's important to avoid that. As always, do your spiritual practices, do some yoga, look at your runes every day, read the tarot, study astrology. What we're looking at now is a war on consciousness and information. So, in days gone by, wars were fought with weapons and men, but now it's a whole different ballgame. We've got the internet. The war is on information. So how you get out of that war, how we win that war, is by not letting them influence us, by staying in your truth and your power, and just having that faith that all is happening the way that it should be. It's all unfolding the way it has to in order for us to progress. Okay? So Neptune is stationing to go direct pretty soon. So when that happens, it's all of this, it's a fog. Neptune is a very difficult planet for us to interpret on this earth that we live on. So at its highest frequency, Neptune is all about spirituality, compassion for everyone, really advanced psychic abilities, and there's a beauty in Neptune, and sometimes it's false. It's a false beauty that's been created, like Hollywood, for example. That is like Hollywood. I cannot think of something that is more low vibe and quite disgusting when you look at how it actually is. Real beauty comes from art. It comes from your family. It comes from music. So when Neptune is going backwards, or appears to be going backwards, we're not seeing any beauty. We're seeing this cold, harsh, bleak landscape that may or may not be created. When that goes direct, actually it's going to bring back some beautiful spiritual energy that's been lacking. The other thing to note is that Saturn is coming to the end of its journey through Capricorn, and both Saturn and Jupiter are going to enter Aquarius in the middle of next month. And then of course that brings us the Great Conjunction, which only happens once every 20 years. I firmly believe that we have just entered the age of Aquarius. We're leaving the old age of Pisces, of martyrdom, of weakness, addictions, illusions, delusions. So of course our reality is being ripped apart at the moment, and like I always say, it's like the Matrix, when they're all sitting there and like they're kind of dirty jumpers eating this bland gruel for their food. That's not, it's not beautiful, it's not glamorous, but that's real. That's where we're at the moment, like seriously. So many people are disheartened, and the suicide rate is just appalling. We have to get through this. We're all taking part in this spiritual battle that we're in. So on a personal level, this eclipse is really going to bring some clarity to each and every one of us. It's going to get us away from anything that is fickle, friendships, relationships. It's about revelations. We're all going to be enlightened in some way about some life area that has been unstable. Maybe it's a friend that's been backstabbing you. Maybe you're realizing that long held beliefs just weren't true. So that reality is going to crumble. So if we want to look at some of the mundane astrology for this election, well, you can see that the eclipse is happening at 8 degrees of Gemini. Look at that, right? It's right across the ascendant descendant axis for the USA. Whatever happens, the next 6 months are going to, there's going to be truth bombs. Sagittarius is the sign of truth. Gemini is the sign of, you know, different pieces of information, updating what they believe with all of the different facts that they receive every day. Whatever the result is of the election, it's not going to go back to normal, right? Quite simply, if you, I mean, that applies to citizens of the USA, but it's also for the rest of us elsewhere in the world. Look, the USA is so close to its Pluto return, and you know, it's all about the restructuring of power. It's in the second house. The natal Pluto for the USA is in the second house of the economy. That's going to be a huge issue for at least another couple of years. And, you know, it's crumbling. The existing structure, whatever that is, whatever you believe that is, whether you believe that it's like, you know, conservatism or these people from behind the scenes that are pulling the strings, it's all going. So the USA, in the US, the moon, which would show the collective emotions of the people and the masses, is in Aquarius. Freedom is so important to Americans, and it's upsetting to other people in the rest of the world who really value freedom. They value a free market and a free press. It's upsetting to think about the USA submitting to this kind of socialist state. It can't happen. We can't let that happen. But all is not said and done. Even if Biden were to win the election, you know, it's going to be 4 years. What is going to be revealed in 4 years? No matter who is president, it's going to rock your world. We're just going to be, nothing is ever going to be the same again. So you might as well get that out of your head. There is no going back. There's no going back, because we're transforming. We're evolving. We are going through an awakening process. Like I say, we're coming into the age of Aquarius. That was never going to happen. Where all of a sudden we find ourselves in this utopia. It doesn't work that way. In order to get to the utopia or the free world where we're all free to live and express ourselves the way that we want, we have to get right to the root of the problem. And the problem is all of these people pulling the strings. You know, they're poisoning our food. They're ruining farming. They're ruining fishing. They are flooding countries with, you know, with migrants or refugees from other countries. They're lying to those refugees, right? They're being disempowered too. So it's not about racism or any of that nonsense. When you pull people away from their homelands, they're removed from, you know, the part of the earth that they have the deepest connection to. And that's just not a good thing for anyone involved. But I mean, all of that is going to be exposed. So if we look at the UK chart, so the eclipse is happening on this axis of the 3rd and the 9th house, which is about foreign countries versus the immediate environment. It is quite close to Chiron. So Chiron, of course, is the wounded healer. Chiron stirs stuff up so it gets to the surface so that we can deal with it. So something here is really going to be, you know, it's going to shock us. The 3rd house is connected to the media. And I know over here, the propaganda machine has just been in total overdrive about the election, about everything, you know, the identity politics. It's not going the way that they hoped, though, because anyone that I speak to, whether they are spiritually awakened or not, they are totally sick of it. You know, they're sick of the lies on the media. They're sick of being told you're a bad person because you're white. It's just totally disgusting. The eclipse does make a trine to the ascendant of the UK's chart. So no matter what happens, this is going to be beneficial in the long run. It makes a quincunx to the midheaven in the chart. So that's how the rest of the world is seeing the UK. And it's also how its citizens are seeing the country as a whole. So what will happen, you know, I mean, I'm quite vocal about who I'm supporting on Facebook. You can add me on Facebook, by the way. Just search for Fiona Edgar. I do a lot of astrology updates over there every couple of days. So shoot me a friend request. You can also book a private reading through my website, fionaedgar.com. No matter what happens here, we're all going to be okay. The most important thing to do is to not lose your sovereignty, okay? Try to be as independent as possible. I've stopped shopping in grocery stores because I just realized that they're just, you know, they're part of the globalist agenda. If you go into any of the main stores, everything is made in China, right? Like literally, you know, apart from the food, obviously, but everything's made in China. That's not against the Chinese people, okay? They've suffered immensely under communism, but we shouldn't be feeding their economy. We should be focusing on our own. Go to a fruit and vegetable grocery store, buy them there. You know, they taste far better. You're supporting local farmers. Go to the local butchers to get your meat. Like, stop buying this, you know, this stuff that you get in the supermarket that's been imported from other countries. Not only is it bad for the environment, it's bad for our economy. Just stick with your roots. Just set your sights on the higher picture. Move away from gossiping, from overloading your mind and your energy field with all of these different opinions. Just focus on your spirituality, your family, and everything really is going to be okay. We may be in for a rough ride. Chiron is in Aries, okay? We're not really going to see an end to the kind of riots, uprisings, wars. We're not going to see an end to any of those until Chiron leaves Aries. It's ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of warfare, okay? You have to fight for peace. We can't go out in the streets and overthrow these people, okay? We just can't do that now because the technology that they have, the weapons that they have will destroy us. So they're attacking us through our consciousness. They're attacking us through our health. Stay pure and stay healthy. Go and meditate every day. Take a walk in nature. Expand your consciousness by learning some kind of spiritual skill. Focus on that. Don't focus on what's happening on social media. Okay? That's about it. Hope you guys are keeping well. Drop me a comment and let me know how you're doing, and I'll be back again soon with another video.